Daddy says I talk too much. He says it with a smile, the kind that means he doesn't really mind, but I know what he means. 7 years old and I've got opinions about everything. The sky, the birds, the way Mrs. Patterson down the street waters her roses like she's apologizing to them. I notice things. Daddy says that's a gift. Mama, before she went to heaven, used to say I had eyes that saw what other people missed. I guess that's how I first saw the angel. It was a Monday, October 14th. I remember because it was the day after Daddy's birthday and we'd had chocolate cake for breakfast. Just the two of us in our small kitchen with the yellow wallpaper that's peeling in the corners. The morning light came through the window, the way it always does, making everything look softer than it really is. Daddy was quieter than usual. He gets that way sometimes on the days after something that's supposed to be happy. I think he misses Mama more on those days. I do too, but I don't say it because saying it makes the missing feel bigger. After breakfast, Daddy took me to school on his motorcycle. A 1987 Harley-Davidson black as midnight chrome that catches the sun like it's showing off. I love that bike. I love the way it growls when it starts. I love how people move out of the way when they hear us coming. But mostly I love sitting behind Daddy, my arms around his waist, my cheek pressed against the leather vest with the patches that tell stories I'm still too young to fully understand. Hell's Angels, Raven, Los Angeles chapter. At school, the other kids' parents drop them off in minivans and sedans, quiet cars with cup holders and NPR playing softly. They look at Daddy and me, and I can see them thinking things, judging things. But Daddy taught me something important. He taught me that what people think doesn't change who you are. It just shows you who they are. That afternoon when Daddy picked me up, we stopped at Warren's Diner like we do every Monday and Friday. It's a small place on the edge of Boyle Heights, the kind of neighborhood where buildings lean into each other like tired old men. The diner smells like coffee and fryer grease and something warm I can't quite name. Warren, the owner, is older than Daddy, but younger than a grandpa. He's got white hair that sticks up like he forgot to comb it and hands that shake a little when he pours coffee. We sat at our usual booth, red vinyl seats patched with duct tape, table that wobbles unless you fold a napkin under the left leg. Daddy ordered coffee black. I got chocolate milk and French fries, which Daddy says isn't dinner, but he lets me have anyway because Mondays are hard enough without fighting over vegetables. That's when I saw him, through the window that looks out to the alley behind the diner. Just a flash of movement. A boy thin as a shadow carrying a gray plastic tub stacked with dirty dishes. He couldn't have been much older than 12, but he moved like someone who'd learned to make himself small. Shoulders hunched, head down, the kind of invisible you become when you don't want anyone to notice you. But I noticed. I watched him set the tub down near the back door, then disappear into the narrow space between the dumpster and the brick wall. The alley isn't much to look at. Cracked pavement, graffiti on the walls, puddles that never quite dry, even when it hasn't rained. But something about the way the boy moved, careful and quick, made me keep watching. Daddy was talking about something and work at the garage maybe, or one of the guys from the club. I made the listening sounds you make when you're 7 and you love someone but your attention is somewhere else. My eyes stayed on that alley. The boy came back out. This time I could see him better. Dark hair that needed cutting. A hoodie 3 sizes too big, sleeves hanging past his hands. Jeans with holes in the knees that weren't the fashionable kind. Shoes held together with duct tape, same silver gray as the tape on our booth. Warren came out the back door, said something short. The boy nodded, picked up the tub again, and carried it inside. When we left the diner, I looked back. The boy was there again, sitting on an overturned crate, eating something from a styrofoam container. Leftovers, probably. He ate fast the way you eat when you're not sure when the next meal is coming. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about him. I have my own room. It's small, but it's mine. Pink walls that Mama painted before she got sick. A bed with a quilt Daddy's friend Maggie made me covered in stars and moons. Shelves with books and stuffed animals and a shoebox where I keep special things. Rocks that look like hearts. A feather from a blue jay. A photo of Mama holding me when I was a baby. I sat on my bed that night with my notebook. I love to draw. Daddy says I get that from Mama who used to paint. I'm not very good yet, but I practice. That night I drew the boy from the alley. I couldn't remember his face exactly, so I drew him from behind. Hunched shoulders, too big hoodie, the tub of dishes. Then I drew something else. Wings. Big ones, like the angels in the pictures at the church we used to go to before Mama died. They sprouted from his shoulders, light and feathered, and completely impossible. Daddy knocked on my door around 8:30. Bedtime. He sat on the edge of my bed and I showed him the drawing. "That's good, baby girl," he said, running a rough finger over the pencil lines. "Who's this, an angel?" I said. "Yeah." His voice had that soft rumble it gets at night when he's tired. What's he an angel of harm? I thought about it. Being hungry, being alone, needing help. Daddy was quiet for a moment. Then he kissed the top of my head. "You got a big heart, Isla. Don't ever let anyone make you smaller than you are." The next day was Tuesday. We didn't stop at the diner. Wednesday, same. By Thursday, I'd thought about that boy 17 times. I counted. At breakfast, I asked Daddy if we could go back to Warren's. "We just went Monday," he said, pouring cereal into my bowl. "I know, but I liked it there." He looked at me with those dark eyes that see through everything. "What's really going on?" I could have lied, could have said I wanted fries, but Daddy taught me lying is for people who are scared of the truth. "There's a boy there. He works in the back. I think he's hungry." Dandy set the milk carton down. "Hungry how? Like he doesn't have a home." For a long moment, Daddy didn't say anything. Then he nodded once. "After I pick you up from school, we'll go." Thursday afternoon, we went back. I ordered the same thing, chocolate milk, fries. But this time I also asked Warren for a sandwich. "You getting hungry?" Daddy asked. "For later," I said, which wasn't exactly a lie. When the sandwich came roast beef on wheat bread with lettuce and tomato. I asked Warren for a paper bag. He gave me one without asking questions. Warren's good like that. I tucked the sandwich inside and wrote on the bag with the crayon I'd brought from home. "For the boy behind the dumpster." Daddy watched me but didn't stop me. When we got up to leave, I asked if I could use the bathroom. He nodded. Instead, I slipped out the back door into the alley. The boy wasn't there, but I knew where to leave the bag. On the crate where I'd seen him sitting, I set it down carefully like it was something precious. Because it was. Back in the diner, Daddy was waiting by the door. He knew, of course he knew, but he didn't say anything. Just took my hand and led me to the motorcycle. Friday we came back. This time I was ready. I'd saved my allowance. $8.50. Enough for another sandwich, some chips and an apple. Same routine, same paper bag, same message. This time when I snuck out to the alley, the boy was there. He was sitting on the crate holding yesterday's bag. Empty now, but he'd folded it into a neat square like it was treasure. Like it mattered. I froze. He looked up. Our eyes met. His were brown. Deep brown like the bark of the old oak tree in the park. Scared brown. Tired brown. Brown in a young face. I should have said something. Introduced myself. Asked his name. But the words stuck in my throat, thick and clumsy. So I just set the new bag down on the crate next to him and ran. That night I drew him again. This time I drew his face, the eyes I'd finally seen. The wings I believed were there even if no one else could see them. I drew myself too standing next to him, small and loud and holding a paper bag. Underneath in my best handwriting I wrote, "Angels don't always have halos. Sometimes they have dirty hoodies." Saturday morning Daddy found me at the kitchen table staring at that drawing. "You're thinking hard," he said, pouring coffee. "Daddy, what if angels need help too?" He sat down across from me, mug steaming between his rough hands. "What do you mean?" "Everyone thinks angels help people, but what if they need help themselves? What if that's the whole point, that we're supposed to help each other?" Daddy looked at me for a long time, then he smiled, small and sad. "Your mama used to say stuff like that." "Did she?" "Yeah, she believed everyone had a little bit of angel in them, even people nobody else wanted to see." I thought about that, about being seen, about being invisible, about paper bags with sandwiches and messages written in crayon. "Daddy, can we go back Monday?" "We always go Monday." "I know. I just want to make sure." That weekend felt long. Saturday, Sunday, each hour stretching like taffy. I drew 4 more pictures. All of them had the boy. In one, he was smiling. I hadn't seen him smile yet, but I wanted to. I wanted to know what that looked like. Monday finally came. October 21st. The day everything changed, though I didn't know it yet. School dragged. Math reading recess where the other girls played games I didn't care about. I spent lunch drawing in my notebook. The teacher, Mrs. Kim, asked what I was working on. I showed her. That's lovely, Isla, she said. Who is it? Someone who needs a friend. She looked at me with that expression adults get when kids say things that are simpler and truer than anything adults would say. We all need friends. After school, Daddy was waiting. Same motorcycle, same leather vest, same quiet smile that meant he understood things without me having to explain. We rode to the diner, October air cool on my face, the city loud and messy and alive around us. I held on to Daddy and felt safe in a way I knew not everyone got to feel. That made me think about the boy again, about what safety meant when you didn't have it. At Warren's, we took our booth. I ordered the usual plus another sandwich. Daddy didn't ask, he just nodded. The sandwich came. I wrote on the bag again, same message. Then I did something different. I added a PS, you're not alone. I see you. When Daddy wasn't looking, I slipped out again. The alley was empty. The crate sat against the wall waiting. I put the bag down and started to turn back. That's when I heard it, a voice quiet and rough. Thank you. I spun around. The boy was there half hidden behind the dumpster. He stepped into the light and I could see him clearly for the first time. 12 maybe. Tall but too thin, like he'd grown faster than he'd been fed. The hoodie was gray-stained, fraying at the cuffs. His face was smudged with dirt, but his eyes were clear. You don't have to hide, I said. My voice came out, smaller than I wanted. I wasn't hiding. But he was. We both knew it. I'm Isla? He hesitated. Declan. Hi, Declan. Hi. We stood there, two strangers in an alley with a paper bag between us and 100 questions. Neither of us knew how to ask. You draw, he said, finally nodding at my notebook tucked under my arm. Yeah, you. He reached into his backpack, pulled out a worn spiral notebook, flipped it open. Pages and pages of drawings, buildings, people. A girl's face drawn over and over like he was trying to memorize her. Who's that? I asked. My sister, Sutton. His voice cracked on her name. She's 9. I haven't seen her in 247 days. 247, he counted. Every single one. Where is she? Foster care. Somewhere they won't tell me. Why not? He shrugged, but it wasn't casual. It was the shrug of someone who'd learned that some questions don't have good answers. System's broken, that's what everyone says. I wanted to say something smart, something helpful, but I was 7 and I didn't know how to fix broken systems. I just knew that this boy, this angel in a dirty hoodie, was hurting. I'll help you find her, I said. He laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. You're just a kid. So are you. I'm 12, dummy. Still a kid. He looked at me, then really looked, and something shifted in his face, like he was seeing me for the first time too. Why are you doing this? The sandwiches, the notes. Because you were hungry. Lots of people are hungry. But I saw you. He didn't have an answer for that. Neither did I. We just stood there, two kids in an alley, while the city hummed around us and the lights started to fade. From inside the diner, I heard Daddy call my name. I have to go, I said. Okay. I'll come back. Friday. Same time. You don't have to. I know. I ran back inside. Daddy was standing by the door, arms crossed. He didn't look mad, just concerned in that way parents get when they know you've been somewhere you shouldn't. Isla, where were you? Talking to the angel. He blinked. The angel. The boy from the alley. His name is Declan. Daddy looked past me toward the back door, but the alley was empty now. Isla, you can't just run off like that. I know, I'm sorry. He sighed, crouched down so we were eye level. Listen to me. I love that you want to help people, but you have to be careful. You don't know who he is. He's hungry and alone, and he misses his sister. How do you know? Because I asked, and he told me the truth. Daddy studied my face, then he stood up, took my hand. Next time, you tell me first. We help people together. Understand? Yes, Daddy. We rode home as the sun set, painting the sky orange and purple. I thought about Declan the whole way, about his sister Sutton, about 247 days, about angels who needed help and little girls who wanted to give it. That night, I drew a new picture. 3 people this time, Daddy, me, and a space between us, outlined but empty. waiting. I knew even then that space was for Declan. I just didn't know yet how much it would take to fill it. The rest of that week passed in a blur of school and waiting. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Each day I thought about Friday, about seeing Declan again, about keeping my promise. Friday came. October 25th. The sky was heavy with clouds that looked like they wanted to rain but couldn't quite commit. Daddy picked me up from school and I didn't have to ask. He just drove straight to Warren's. At the diner, I ordered my usual, but this time I asked for 2 sandwiches. Warren raised an eyebrow. Hungry day. Sharing day, I said. Daddy watched me across the table. You're really set on this, aren't you? Yes. This boy in the alley. You think he's special. I think he's an angel. Isla angels aren't real. I looked at my father, this big, strong man with scars on his knuckles and a patch on his vest that made people cross the street. This man who held me when I cried for mama, who braided my hair even though he wasn't very good at it, who showed up every single day no matter what. Then what are you, Daddy? He didn't have an answer, just reached across the table and squeezed my hand. When the sandwiches came, I took both bags and headed for the back door. This time Daddy followed. The alley was gray under the clouded sky. Declan was there sitting on the crate like he'd been waiting. When he saw Daddy behind me, he stood up fast, ready to run. It's okay, I said quickly. This is my daddy, Knox. Daddy, this is Declan. The two of them looked at each other, man and boy, both wary, both trying to figure out what the other was. Daddy spoke first. You the one Isla's been feeding. Declan nodded, chin up, defensive. I didn't ask her to. I know. She doesn't do anything she doesn't want to do. Daddy glanced at the crate, the backpack propped against the wall, the cardboard box half hidden behind the dumpster. Understanding crossed his face. You sleeping out here? Declan's jaw tightened. Sometimes. Where else around? Around where? Different places, shelters when there's space, under bridges, behind buildings. He said it flat like it was just facts, like it didn't matter. But it mattered. I could see it on Daddy's face. The way his expression went hard, then soft, then somewhere in between. You got family, Daddy asked. Had a mom, she died. Dad's in prison, sisters in foster care. Declan's voice was steady, but his hand shook. Sisters said I was hard to place. Too old, too much attitude. So they stopped trying. Hard to place, the words hung in the air like smoke. I stepped forward, held out the bags. I brought you dinner and lunch for tomorrow. Declan took them, and for the first time I saw his eyes get wet. Not crying, just close. Thank you. Daddy cleared his throat. You go to school? When I can. Lincoln Middle. I clean up enough they don't ask questions. That's where Isla will go in a few years. Declan looked at me surprised. Yeah. Yeah, I said. You can show me around when I get there. Something like a smile crossed his face. Small and unsure, but there. Maybe. We stood there, the three of us, while the city noise filtered in from the street. Cars honking. Someone's radio playing too loud. Life happening all around us while we existed in this small pocket of quiet. Finally, Daddy said, You need anything else? Blanket, a warmer coat. Declan shook his head. I'm okay. You're not okay, but I get it. Pride's important. Daddy pulled a card from his wallet. This is for the garage where I work, 3 blocks from here. You ever need anything real emergency, you come find me. Understand? Declan took the card, stared at it like it was written in a language he didn't quite speak. Why so? Because my daughter sees something in you, and she's usually right about people. That was Friday, the 25th, the last normal day before everything changed. The weekend passed, Saturday, Sunday. I drew more pictures, practiced what I'd say the next time I saw Declan. Thought about his sister Sutton out there somewhere missing her brother the way I miss Mama. Monday morning came, October 28th. I woke up with a feeling in my stomach. Not bad exactly, just big, like something important was about to happen and I needed to be ready for it. At school, I couldn't focus. Mrs. Kim asked me 3 times to pay attention during math. At lunch, my friend Mia asked what was wrong. Nothing, I said, just thinking. About what? How could I explain about angels and alleys and boys who counted the days since they'd seen their sisters about people who need help? Mia wrinkled her nose. That's weird. Maybe it was, but it was also true. After school, Daddy was late. Not very late, just 10 minutes, but it felt longer. When he finally pulled up, I could tell something was off. His face was tight, stressed. "Sorry, baby girl," he said as I climbed on behind him. "Work ran long." "It's okay." We rode toward home, not the diner. I didn't say anything, but I must have made some sound because Daddy glanced back. "We'll go tomorrow," he said. "Promise, promise," but tomorrow didn't come. Not the way I expected. Tuesday started normal, school, math reading recess. But at 2:15, right in the middle of science class, the classroom door opened. It was Daddy, in the middle of the school day, his face serious. Mrs. Kim looked surprised. "Mr. Bennett, is everything okay?" "I need to take Isla," he said. "Family emergency." My heart dropped. "What happened, is it?" "Not us," he said quickly. "Just come with me." I grabbed my backpack, followed him out. In the hallway, I asked again, "Daddy, what's wrong?" He stopped, knelt down. "Your friend, Declan, something happened at the diner." The world tilted. "Is he okay?" "I don't know yet. Warren called me, said there was an incident in the alley. Police are there. I thought you'd want to come." Yes, I want to come." We rode fast, faster than usual. The wind sharp and cold against my face, my mind racing with terrible possibilities. Declan hurt, Declan arrested, Declan gone. When we got to the diner, there were 2 police cars parked outside. My stomach clenched. Daddy parked the bike, took my hand. "Stay close to me." We walked around to the alley. Warren was there talking to a police officer. When he saw us, his face softened with something like relief. "Knox. Thank God." "What happened?" Warren ran a hand through his white hair. "About an hour ago, some kid started harassing Declan. Big kid, probably 15, pushing him around. I heard it from inside, came out to stop it, but by the time I got here," he gestured to the far end of the alley. I looked, saw the crate overturned, papers scattered, and Declan's backpack ripped open, contents spilling onto the wet pavement. "Where's Declan?" I asked, my voice small. "He ran," Warren said. "Kid tore up his stuff and he just ran." I pulled away from Daddy, ran to the backpack, picked up the scattered drawings. They were wet, smudged, but I could still see them. Faces, places, and Sutton. Over and over, Sutton. "He'll come back for these," I said, clutching the papers to my chest. "These are important. He'll come back." The police officer stepped forward, young guy, maybe 30. "Little girl, did you know this boy? His name is Declan. He's my friend. Do you know where he might go?" I thought about it. Shelters, bridges, under buildings. "He goes around. Around where? Different places. Wherever it's safe." The officer's face tightened. "We need to find him. The boy who attacked him might come back." Daddy put his hand on my shoulder. "We'll help look." For the next hour, we searched. Daddy on his bike, me riding behind, checking every place I could think of. The park 3 blocks away. The library where it was warm. The underpass near the freeway. Nothing. By 5 o'clock, the light was fading. Daddy pulled over, cut the engine. "Isla, we have to go home soon." "But we haven't found him." "I know, baby, but it's getting dark." I felt tears coming, hot and frustrated. "He's alone, Daddy. He's scared and alone, and his stuff is ruined." "I know. We can't just leave him." Daddy was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "We won't. We'll come back. First thing tomorrow, we'll look again. I promise." But I didn't want tomorrow. I wanted now. I wanted to find Declan and tell him it was okay, that his drawings were safe, that he wasn't alone. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing his face, the way he'd looked when I first saw him, hunched, careful, trying to be invisible. Around midnight, I heard Daddy's phone ring, his voice low and urgent in the other room. Then footsteps, my door opening. "Isla," Daddy's silhouette in the doorway. "Get dressed, we were going." "What, where?" "Hospital. They found Declan." My heart stopped. "Is he okay?" "Get dressed, I'll explain on the way." 5 minutes later, we were on the bike again, flying through empty streets. The city at night different than during the day. Quieter, darker, full of shadows and secrets. At the hospital, Daddy led me through automatic doors into bright fluorescent light that hurt my eyes. We found the emergency room, and that's where I saw him. Declan, sitting in a plastic chair hunched over, cradling his right arm against his chest. His arm was wrong. Even from across the room I could see it, bent at an angle that made my stomach turn. I ran to him. Declan, he looked up, and his face was all pain and relief mixed together. Isla, what happened? Your arm? It's broken. He said it matter of fact like it was no big deal, but his voice shook. A nurse appeared, middle-aged woman with kind eyes and tired smile. Are you family? Daddy stepped forward. Friend, I'm the one Warren called. Warren from the diner. Yeah, he said Declan was here alone. The nurse's expression shifted. Sadness maybe, or frustration with a system that let 12-year-old boys end up alone in emergency rooms. He was brought in by paramedics. Apparently there was an altercation. Altercation, Declan muttered. That's one word for it. I sat down next to him, careful not to bump his arm. What happened? That kid came back. The one from the alley. Bigger than me, older. He wanted my spot. Said I had to leave. Declan's jaw tightened. I said no, so he pushed me. I fell, heard it snap. The crack, the pain, all of it clear on his face even now. Did he hurt anything else? Daddy asked. Just the arm. Declan looked at him. I'm fine. You're not fine. Your arm is broken. I've had worse. That sentence landed like a punch. I've had worse. What did worse look like? What had this boy survived that a broken arm was just another day? The nurse cleared her throat. We need to set it, but first we need parental consent or a guardian. Silence. Declan stared at the floor. Don't have one. Any family we can call? No. The nurse looked at Daddy. Sir, I'll have to contact Child Protective Services. Do what you need to do, Daddy said, but I'm staying with him until someone gets here. Are you related? No, but I'm not leaving. Something passed between them. Some understanding. The nurse nodded. I'll make the calls. After she left, the three of us sat there. Me, Daddy, and Declan, the ER buzzing around us. People sick, hurt, scared. Everyone with their own story, their own pain. I reached into my backpack, pulled out the drawings I'd rescued from the alley. Wet and smudged, but still there. I saved these, I said, handing them to Declan. He took them with his good hands, stared at them like I'd just given him gold. You went back for these. They're important. They're just drawings. They're your sister. His eyes met mine, brown and deep and full of something I didn't have words for yet. Thank you. You're welcome. Daddy watched us, his face unreadable. Then he said, Declan, I'm going to ask you something, and I need you to be honest. Do you want help? Declan's laugh was bitter. Everyone asks that, like I'm choosing this. That's not what I mean. I mean real help, not just sandwiches and blankets. I mean someone to stand with you when the system tries to push you around. You don't know me. No, but Isla does, and she's a better judge of character than most adults I know. Declan looked at me. I looked back. In that moment, I knew what I had to do. What I'd been building toward since that first Monday when I saw an angel in a dirty hoodie. I want you to come live with us, I said. The words came out clear, bar, and sure. No hesitation. Both of them stared at me. Isla, Daddy started. No, listen. Declan doesn't have anywhere to go. We have a room. It's full of boxes, but we can move them. He can stay with us. Baby, it's not that simple. Why not? Because there are rules, laws, systems. Systems that are broken, I said using Declan's own words. Systems that let 12-year-old boys sleep in alleys and break their arms and have nobody. Daddy's face did something complicated. Pride and worry and love all mixed together. Declan shook his head. You can't just take me in like a stray dog. You're not a stray dog. You're a person, and persons deserve homes. I'm hard to place. That's what they said. I don't care what they said. Isla, I don't care, I said again louder this time. People in the ER turned to look. I didn't care about that either. I don't care if you're 12 or 15 or 20. I don't care if you have attitude or whatever made them say you're hard. You saved me. I didn't save you. Yes, you did. You showed me what brave looks like. You showed me that people who have nothing can still protect someone else. That's saving. And now I'm saving you back. Declan's eyes filled with tears. real ones this time spilling over onto his dirty cheeks. I can't, I don't know how to. I grabbed his good hand with both of mine. You don't have to know. I'll know for both of us. That's when the door opened. A woman walked in mid-40s wearing a gray blazer and carrying a folder. Professional. Tired. The look of someone who'd seen too much and still showed up anyway. I'm looking for Declan Ashford, she said. Declan straightened. That's me. The woman walked over and I could see her badge. Eleanor Finch. Child Protective Services. My heart sank. CPS. The people who took kids away. The people who'd separated Declan from his sister. The people who decided who was easy to place and who was hard. Ms. Finch looked at Declan, then at Daddy and me. I'm Ms. Finch. I was called about a minor with a broken arm and no guardian present. That's right, Daddy said. And you are Knox Bennett, friend of the family. What family? Daddy gestured to Declan. His. Ms. Finch's eyebrows rose. Mr. Bennett, according to my records, Declan Ashford has no living relatives and is currently unplaced in the foster system. Your records are incomplete, Daddy said. He's got us. Ms. Finch studied him. The leather vest, the patches, the hard lines of his face that softened when he looked at me. Mr. Bennett, I appreciate your concern, but I need to speak with Declan alone. No, I said. Everyone looked at me. Excuse me, Ms. Finch said. I stood up, all 3 feet 9 inches of me, and looked this woman in the eye. No, you can't take him. He's ours now. Sweetie, I'm not trying to take anyone. I'm trying to help. Then help by listening. Declan needs a home. We have one. That's it. That's the whole thing. Ms. Finch blinked. Then she did something I didn't expect. She smiled, small but real. You're very passionate. I'm very right. She knelt down so we were eye level. What's your name? Isla Bennett. Isla, that's a beautiful name. Thank you. Now can we talk about Declan? She laughed just a little. Okay, let's talk about Declan. She stood up, gestured to a quieter corner of the ER. Mr. Bennett, can I speak with you and Isla privately? Daddy looked at Declan. We'll be right back. Don't let them take me, Declan said. Not to Daddy, to me. I won't, I promised. In the corner away from the noise and chaos, Ms. Finch opened her folder. Mr. Bennett, I need to be clear about something. Taking in a foster child is a complex process. Background checks, home visits, training. It can take months. I understand. Because most people hear months and lose interest. I'm not most people. I can see that. She glanced at me. Isla, can I ask you something? Yes. Why do you care so much about Declan? I thought about how to answer. About sandwiches and drawings and wings only I could see. About 247 days and a sister named Sutton. About how some people are born knowing what matters and what doesn't. Because he's an angel, I said. An angel shouldn't be alone. Ms. Finch was quiet for a long moment. Then she closed her folder. Mr. Bennett, I'm going to do something I don't usually do. I'm going to recommend emergency placement pending full review. Daddy's eyes widened. I mean Declan can go home with you tonight. Supervised, conditional, with about 1,000 caveats and requirements. But yes, I felt my whole body go light. Really, we do. Really, but this is serious, Isla. If your dad agrees to this, it means home visits from people like me. It means rules and paperwork and people asking questions. It means your life changing in ways you might not understand yet. I looked at Daddy. Can we do it? He looked at me, then at Ms. Finch, then back at the corner where Declan sat hunched over his broken arm, looking small and scared and alone. Yeah, Daddy said. We can do it. Ms. Finch nodded. Okay, let me talk to Declan. Make sure he understands what he's agreeing to. Then we'll do the preliminary paperwork. She walked away. Daddy and I stood there, the weight of what we'd just committed to settling over us like snow. Daddy, I whispered. Did we really just... Yeah, baby girl, we really just... Are you scared? He thought about it, terrified. Me too. He put his hand on my shoulder. But we're doing it anyway, because that's what you do when you see someone who needs help. You help, even when it's scary, especially when it's scary. I watched Ms. Finch talk to Declan, saw his face change from suspicious to confused to something like hope. She showed him papers. He nodded. She wrote things down. Then she looked at us and waved us over. We walked back together, Daddy and me. A team. Declan has agreed to placement with you, Ms. Finch said, pending background check results and home visit within 48 hours. What does that mean? Declan asked. It means you're going home with them tonight, Ms. Finch said gently. It means you get a bed and food and people who care about you. But it also means following rules and cooperating with the system and trusting that we're all trying to do what's best for you. Declan looked at me. Is this real? Yes. You really want me? Yes. Why? Because you're my angel, and angels belong in homes, not alleys. A doctor came then to set Declan's arm. We stayed with him through it all. The x-rays, the casting, the pain medication that made him sleepy and quiet. Daddy signed papers. Miss Finch made phone calls. And I sat next to Declan holding his good hand telling him about our house. We have a couch that eats people, I said, and a kitchen with yellow wallpaper, and a room that's yours now. It has boxes, but we'll move them, and maybe we can paint it. What's your favorite color? I don't know, he said, words slow from the medication. Never really thought about it. That's okay, we'll figure it out together. By 9 o'clock, everything was done. Declan had a cast on his right arm, bright blue, because that's what he picked when they gave him choices. He had prescriptions for pain medication and instructions for care. And he had us. Ms. Finch walked us to the parking lot. I'll be by Thursday afternoon for the home visit. Please have Declan's room ready, and Mr. Bennett be prepared for questions. Lots of them. I understand. She looked at me. Isla, you did something remarkable today. I just told the truth. That's the remarkable part. Most people forget how. She left. It was just the three of us in the parking lot. The motorcycle waiting, the night cool and clear. Can you ride with that arm? Daddy asked Declan. I think so. You sit in front, Isla can hold on behind. We climbed on, an odd configuration, but it worked. Daddy started the engine and the familiar rumble filled the air. As we pulled out of the parking lot, I looked back at the hospital. All those people inside hurting and healing. All those stories I'd never know. But this one, Declan's story, was mine now. Ours. The ride home was quiet. The city lights blurred past. Somewhere a siren wailed. Somewhere people were sleeping in soft beds with full stomachs and no fear. And somewhere a 9-year-old girl named Sutton was missing her brother. But tonight Declan was safe. Tonight he had a home. When we got to our house, small and leaning slightly to the left with paint that needed touching up, Declan just stared. This is it, he said. This is it. Daddy confirmed. It's small. It's ours. Now it's yours too. Inside, I showed him everything. The living room with the couch that did in fact eat people. The kitchen with its yellow wallpaper and wobbly table. The bathroom with the shower that took 2 minutes to get hot. And finally his room. Daddy had texted his friend Flint from the hospital. While we were there, Flint had come over and moved the boxes. The room was empty except for a bed, a dresser, and a lamp on the floor. I know it's not much, Daddy said, but it's yours. Declan walked in slowly like he was afraid the room would disappear if he moved too fast. He touched the wall, the dresser, the bed. Then he sat down on the mattress and cried. Not quiet tears, big shaking sobs that came from somewhere deep inside. All the fear and pain and loneliness of the past 247 days pouring out. I sat next to him. Daddy stood in the doorway. We let him cry, because sometimes crying is the only thing that makes sense. When he finally stopped, he wiped his face with his good hand. Sorry. Don't apologize, I said. This is a crying place. You're allowed. He laughed, wet and broken. A crying place. Yeah, Daddy cries here sometimes. I heard him. Daddy cleared his throat. Isla. What you do? Yeah, but you're not supposed to tell people. Declan's not people. He's family. The word hung there. Family. This boy we'd known for less than a week. This broken-armed angel from an alley. Family. Declan looked at both of us. I don't know how to do this. Do what? I asked. This, family, home. I've been on my own so long, I don't remember how to be someone's anything. Daddy sat down on Declan's other side. The bed creaked under his weight. You don't have to know right now. We'll figure it out. All of us. Together. What if I mess up? Then you mess up. We all do. What if CPS takes me away? Then we fight to get you back. What if, hey, I interrupted. Stop what-ifing. You're here now in this room with us. That's all that matters. Declan took a shaky breath. Okay. Okay, I echoed. Daddy stood up. It's late. Everyone needs sleep. Declan, you need anything? No, I'm good. Bathroom's down the hall. Kitchen's open if you get hungry. And Isla's room is right next door if you need anything. After Daddy left, I stayed a little longer. I'm glad you're here, I said. Me too, I think. You think it's scary. Hoping. I know, but I'll hope for both of us until you're ready. He smiled, small and uncertain, but there. Okay. I went to my own room, but I left both our doors open, just in case, just so he'd know he wasn't alone. That night, I drew one more picture. 3 people. Daddy tall and strong, me small and loud, and Declan in between with his blue vest and his tired eyes. Above us, I drew a roof. Not wings this time. A roof, because angels need shelter too. I fell asleep with my notebook open, the drawing staring up at the ceiling. In the other room, Declan fell asleep in a real bed for the first time in 8 months. And downstairs, Daddy sat at the kitchen table with a beer he didn't drink, staring at nothing, wondering what he'd just gotten us into. But in his heart, he already knew. He'd gotten us into family. Messy, complicated, beautiful family. And there was no going back from that. The first morning came too bright and too early, Wednesday, October 23rd. Light spilled through my bedroom window, painting everything gold. For a moment, I forgot. Then I remembered. Declan, the hospital, the coincidental, the promise. I sat up fast, heart racing. What if it was a dream? What if I went to the spare room and found it empty, just boxes and dust and disappointment? I crept down the hall in my pajamas, bare feet silent on the old wooden floor. His door was still open the way I'd left it. I peeked inside. He was there. Curled on his side, good arm tucked under his head, cast resting on top of the blanket. Still wearing yesterday's clothes because we hadn't thought about pajamas or toothbrush or any of the 100 small things people need. But he was there. Real. Breathing. Home. I must have made a sound because his eyes opened. Brown and wary like an animal checking for danger. Hi, I whispered. Hi. His voice rough with sleep. You're still here. Yeah. Good. We looked at each other across the small room. Then he sat up, wincing as he moved the broken arm. What time is it? 7:30. Daddy's probably making breakfast. He's not very good at it, but he tries. Should I come down? The uncertainty in his voice made my chest hurt, like he needed permission to exist in his own house. This is your home now, I said. You don't have to ask. In the kitchen, Daddy was burning toast. The smoke detector hadn't gone off yet, but it was thinking about it. He looked up when we came in and something in his face softened. Morning, he said. Sleep okay? Declan nodded. Better than, yeah, better. Better than the alley. Better than shelters. Better than anywhere he'd been in 8 months. The words he didn't say were louder than the ones he did. Daddy scraped the black parts off the toast, spread peanut butter thick enough to hide the damage. Not fancy, but it's food. We sat at the wobbly table. 3 people where yesterday there'd been 2. The math of family changing overnight. I need to go to work, Daddy said. Garage needs me for a few hours. Isla's got school. Declan's face went carefully blank. What should I do? You should rest. Arms got to heal. Ms. Finch said she'd call later to set up the home visit. Just make yourself at home. Watch TV, whatever you want. I don't want to be in the way. You're not in the way. You live here. The concept seemed to slide off Declan like water off glass. Not sticking, not real yet. After breakfast, Daddy took me to school on the motorcycle. As we pulled up to Lincoln Elementary, he cut the engine and turned to look at me. You know this changes everything, right? He said. Having Declan here, it's not going to be easy. I know. You're still sure? I'm sure. He studied my face like he was looking for doubt. He wouldn't find any. Okay, if you're sure, I'm sure. School that day was impossible. I couldn't focus. Mrs. Kim asked me twice to stop staring out the window. At lunch, Mia wanted to talk about a movie she'd seen. I made listening noises, but my mind was at home. With Declan, wondering if he was okay alone, if he'd eaten, if he'd looked through the house and decided we were too small, too broken, too much. When Daddy picked me up at 3:15, I practically jumped on the bike. Is he still there? I asked. Where else would he be? I don't know, gone, scared, changed his mind. He's there, baby girl, probably right where we left him. He was right. Declan was in the living room, sitting on the couch that 8 people staring at a TV that wasn't on. Just sitting, waiting for permission to exist. Hi, I said, dropping my backpack. He looked up and relief crossed his face, like he'd been afraid we weren't coming back. Hey, did you eat lunch? I wasn't hungry. Lie, I could tell. He was afraid to touch our food without asking. I went to the kitchen, made 2 sandwiches, peanut butter and jelly, cut diagonal because that's the right way. Brought them back, handed him one. Eat, I said. You don't have to. I know I don't have to. I want to. Eat. He ate, slow at first, then faster, like his body remembered it was starving even if his mind was trying to be polite. While he ate, I sat next to him. We need to talk about your room. What about it? It's boring. Just a bed and dresser. We should make it yours. Paint maybe. Posters. What do you like? He looked at me like I'd asked him to explain quantum physics. I don't know. You don't know what you like. I haven't thought about it in a long time. That sentence hit different. Haven't thought about what I like. Because when you're surviving, liking things is a luxury you can't afford. Okay, I said. We'll figure it out. Do you like blue? Your cast is blue. They just asked me to pick a color. I said blue because it was first. Do you hate blue? No. Then we'll start there. Blue walls, maybe some stars. I have glow-in-the-dark stars in my room. We could get you some. For the first time, he smiled, small and uncertain, but there. Stars would be okay. That evening, Daddy brought home Chinese food. We ate straight from the containers because washing dishes felt like too much work. Declan ate 2 entire containers of lo mein, then looked embarrassed. Sorry, he said. I didn't mean to. Don't apologize for being hungry, Daddy said. There's more if you want it. I'm good. But he wasn't good. None of us were really. We were figuring out how to be 3 instead of 2, how to share space and food and silence. After dinner, while Daddy did paperwork for Ms. Finch's visit, I sat with Declan in the living room. Can I ask you something? I said. Okay. Your sister, Sutton. Tell me about her. His whole body tensed. Why? Because she's important to you, which makes her important to me. He was quiet for a long time. Then slowly, like he was pulling memories from somewhere deep and painful, he started talking. She's 9, almost 10. Birthday's in November. She likes purple. And horses, even though she's never ridden one. She draws better than me. Makes up songs that don't rhyme, but somehow make sense anyway. His voice got softer. She used to have nightmares. I'd let her crawl into my bed, tell her stories until she fell back asleep. What kind of stories? Made-up ones, about a girl who could talk to animals, who went on adventures, who was brave and strong, and never alone. She sounds amazing. She is. Do you know where she is? His face went hard. Foster care, somewhere in LA. They wouldn't tell me where. Said it was better if we didn't have contact. That starting fresh would help us both adjust. That's stupid. Yeah, we should find her. He looked at me, hope and fear fighting in his eyes. How? I don't know yet, but we will. Tomorrow, we'll start looking. That night before bed, I made Declan a list. Rules for living in our house. I wrote them on notebook paper with my purple pen and stuck them on his door with tape. Declan's rules. 1. No saying sorry for existing. Crying is allowed. Breakfast is mandatory. If you're hungry, eat. This is your home too. We are family now, no arguing. In the morning, I found him standing in his doorway reading the list over and over. You okay? I asked. Nobody's ever made me rules before. You don't like them. No, I like them. They're good rules. Okay, good. Thursday morning, Ms. Finch came for the home visit. She arrived at 10 o'clock sharp carrying the same folder and wearing a different blazer but the same tired expression. Daddy had clean, really clean. The kind of cleaning you do when someone's coming to judge whether you're fit to take care of a child. The floors shined, the kitchen sparkled, even the bathroom that usually looked like a hurricane hit it was presentable. Ms. Finch walked through every room making notes. She checked the smoke detectors, looked in the refrigerator, measured Declan's bedroom. "It's small," she said. "It's his," I replied. She looked at me, something like amusement in her eyes. "You're very protective of him." "He's my brother now." "Legally, he's not yet." "I don't care about legally, I care about really." Ms. Finch sat down at our kitchen table, gestured for us to join her. "Daddy, me, and Declan, a family waiting to be judged." "Declan," she said, "how are you feeling? Really feeling?" He glanced at his cast at the table, anywhere but her face. "Okay. Just okay. Better than okay, better than I've been in a long time." "Are you comfortable here?" "Yeah." "Do you feel safe?" "Yeah." "Mr. Bennett, are you employed?" "Yes, ma'am. I work at Fletcher's Auto Garage, 3 blocks from here. Been there 6 years." "Income stable?" "Stable enough. We're not rich, but we eat. Bills get paid." She made notes. "Any criminal record?" Daddy's jaw tightened. "Yes, from when I was younger. Assault, served 18 months. That was 14 years ago. Been clean since." I watched Ms. Finch's pen pause, watched her look at Daddy differently, calculating. "I appreciate your honesty," she said finally. "I'm not going to lie, not about this." "Good, because I'll find out anyway." She turned to me. "Isla, do you understand what it means having Declan here?" "It means I have a brother." "It means more than that. It means changes, less attention from your father, sharing space, sharing time. Are you ready for that?" "Yes." "How do you know?" I thought about it. About sandwiches in alleys, and angels in dirty hoodies, and promises made in hospital rooms. "Because some things are more important than having all the attention," I said. "Some things are about doing what's right, even when it's hard." Ms. Finch stared at me. Then she closed her folder. "Mr. Bennett, I'm going to recommend continued placement." Daddy's shoulders dropped with relief. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet. There will be more visits, more questions. Background check is still processing. One wrong move, one sign that Declan isn't safe or cared for, and I pull him out." "Understood." "Understood." After she left, the three of us sat in the kitchen processing. "That went okay, right?" Declan asked. "That went better than okay," Daddy said. "She could have said no." "Why didn't she?" Daddy looked at me. "Because someone in this house is very convincing." I felt my face get hot. "I just told the truth." "Yeah, that's the convincing part." That afternoon, while Daddy was at work, I sat Declan down at the kitchen table. "We need to find Sutton," I said. "Isla, I told you, they won't tell me where she is." "They won't tell you, but maybe they'll tell Ms. Finch, and maybe Ms. Finch will tell us." "Why would she do that?" "Because I'm going to ask her, and I'm very convincing." I called the number on Ms. Finch's card. It rang 4 times before she answered. "Eleanor Finch." "Hi, Ms. Finch. It's Isla Bennett." "Isla, is everything okay?" "Yes, I need to ask you something." "Okay." "Declan has a sister, Sutton Ashford. She's 9. She's in foster care somewhere. We need to find her." Silence on the other end. Then, "Isla, I can't just give out information about other children in the system." "I'm not asking you to give out information. I'm asking you to help reunite siblings who were separated unfairly." "It's not that simple." "It is that simple. You just said simple is hard for grown-ups. So I'm making it simple for you. Find Sutton. Let Declan know she's okay. That's it." More silence. I could hear her breathing, thinking. "Isla, even if I wanted to help, I don't have access to all foster placements. I'd have to make calls, search records. It could take days." "Then start today." "You're very persistent." "I learned it from my daddy." She laughed, soft and tired. "I'll see what I can do. No promises." "Thank you." "Isla, why does this matter so much to you?" I thought about Mama, about losing her, about how the only thing worse than losing someone would be losing them and not knowing where they were, not knowing if they were okay, not knowing if they remembered you. Because Declan counts the days since he saw her, I said. 247 days. Nobody should have to count like that. Ms. Finch was quiet. Then, I'll call you when I know something. She hung up. I looked at Declan, who'd been listening to the whole conversation. You really think she'll find her? He asked. Yes. How do you know, because Ms. Finch is like us. She wants to help. She's just trapped in a system that makes helping hard. So we're going to make it easy. Friday morning, I woke up to voices downstairs. Adult voices, tense voices. I crept to the top of the stairs, listened. I don't care what they say, and Daddy's voice hard and defensive. He's staying. Knox, I'm not saying he can't stay. A woman's voice. Not Miss Finch, someone else. I'm saying we need to be realistic about what you're taking on. I am being realistic. Are you single father, dangerous job, dangerous friends, and now a traumatized 12-year-old boy? Maggie, I know what I'm doing. Maggie, I knew that name. Maggie Cross, wife of Flint, one of Daddy's friends from the club. She'd help move the boxes from Declan's room. Do you? Maggie's voice softened. Because I love you, Knox. You're a good man. But this isn't like taking in a stray cat. This is a child with trauma and needs and a whole history you don't know. I know enough. Do you know why he was separated from his sister? Silence. Do you know what his file says, what his father did, what he's been through? I know he needs someone to not give up on him. And what happens when it gets hard, when he acts out or pushes back or does all the things traumatized kids do? Then I deal with it. How? The same way I deal with everything, one day at a time. I couldn't listen anymore. I walked down the stairs. Both adults looked at me, guilt on their faces for being overheard. Hi, Maggie, I said. Hi, sweetie. She smiled, but it was strained. Are you here to tell Daddy he's making a mistake? Isla, Daddy started. No, Maggie said, cutting him off. I'm here because I care about your family, and I want to make sure this is what's best for everyone. It is. How do you know? Because Declan needs us, and we need him. You need him? Yes. Our family was too small, too quiet, too sad. Declan makes us bigger. Maggie's eyes got shiny. She looked at Daddy. She's 7. I know. 7-year-olds shouldn't have to think like this. Maybe more people should think like 7-year-olds. Maggie sat down at the table, rubbed her face. Okay. You want to know what I really came here to say? Yes, I said. She looked at me. Really looked. I came to tell your dad that if he's serious about this, Flint and I will help. Because that's what family does. We're family. The club takes care of its own. And if Declan's yours, he's ours too. Something warm spread through my chest. Family, not just blood, not just living in the same house, but chosen, decided, real. Thank you, I said. After Maggie left, Daddy sat at the table with his coffee going cold. You heard all that, he asked. Most of it. You scared? A little, are you? A lot. But we're doing it anyway. Yeah, we're doing it anyway. Monday morning came too fast. October 28th. My alarm went off at 7, shrill and unwelcome. School day. The weekend had been quiet. Good. Declan was settling in piece by piece, learning where things were, how the shower worked, that the third step on the stairs creaked. At breakfast, Daddy dropped the news. Declan, you need to enroll in school. Declan's face went pale. School? Yeah, can't have you sitting home all day. You're 12. Law says you go to school. I went to Lincoln Middle before. They probably still have my records. Good. We'll go register you today. The fear in Declan's eyes was real and raw. What if they ask questions about where I've been, about why I wasn't in school? We tell the truth. You were in transition. Now you're not. But I could see it, the shame, the worry, the fear of being seen as broken. It'll be okay, I said. School's not that bad. You're 7. So I still go to school. I know things. He almost smiled. Almost. After Daddy dropped me off at my school, he took Declan to Lincoln Middle. I spent the whole day wondering how it went. If the other kids were nice, if the teachers asked too many questions, if Declan ran. When Daddy picked me up, Declan was with him. How was it? I asked immediately. Weird, Declan said. But okay. What grade are you in? Seventh, should be eighth, but I missed too much. That's okay, you'll catch up. That night, Declan did homework at the kitchen table. Real homework, math problems, and reading assignments and vocabulary words. Normal kid stuff. I did my homework next to him's second grade edition that felt simple compared to his fractions. Isla, he said after a while. Yeah, thanks. For what? For making this feel normal. This is normal. Not for me. It is now. Tuesday afternoon, Mr. Finch called. I answered before Daddy could. Isla, I have news. My heart jumped. About Sutton. Yes, I found her. I almost dropped the phone. Where? She's in foster care with Margaret and Flint Cross. The name hit me like electricity. Maggie and Flint are Maggie and Flint. Do you know them? They're Daddy's friends. They were just here. They live 12 miles away. That's what the records say. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. Sutton, right there, close enough to touch. And we didn't know they didn't know. Does Maggie know Sutton has a brother? I asked. According to my notes, no. The file was sealed, incorrectly but sealed. Sutton's been using their last name. Williams was her mother's maiden name. The system filed her under that instead of Ashford. So they've been there this whole time, 12 miles apart. Yes, that's wrong. Yes, it is. Can they see each other? I can arrange a supervised visit. If all parties agree, they'll agree. When I need to contact the Crosses first. Make sure they're comfortable with this. Then we'll set something up, probably this weekend. This weekend, that's 4 days. I know it feels like forever. Ms. Finch, he's been waiting 247 days. 4 more is nothing, but it's also everything. I understand, I'll call you when I have details. When Declan got home from school, I was waiting at the door. I have something to tell you, I said. He looked worried. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong, everything's right. I found Sutton. He went very still. What? Ms. Finch found her. She's with Maggie and Flint. You know Daddy's friends. She's been there this whole time. 12 miles away. Declan sat down hard on the couch. 12 miles. Yeah, I could have walked that. You didn't know. I should have known. Should have looked harder. Should have. I sat next to him. You were surviving. You can't look for someone when you're trying not to disappear yourself. He put his face in his good hand, shoulders shaking. Is she okay? Ms. Finch says yes. Maggie's good people. Flint, too. When can I see her? This weekend. Maybe Saturday. Saturday, that's 4 days. I know. I don't know if I can wait 4 days. You've waited 247. You can wait 4 more. He looked at me, tears on his face. What if she doesn't remember me? She remembers you. You're her brother. You're in her bones. Those 4 days were the longest of Declan's life. I could see it in the way he moved. Restless, distracted, at school, at home, everywhere. Waiting. Wednesday passed. Thursday. Friday. Friday after school, Principal Moore called Daddy. Mr. Bennett, we need you to come in. There's been an incident. My stomach dropped. What kind of incident? Daddy's face was grim. They didn't say. Come on. At the middle school, we were led to the principal's office. Declan was there sitting in a chair outside, looking furious and scared. What happened? I asked him. Nothing. Doesn't look like nothing. Principal Moore appeared. Mid-50s gray suit expression that said he'd seen everything and was tired of all of it. Mr. Bennett, thank you for coming. He looked at me. This is your daughter. Yes, Isla. She can wait outside. No, I said. If it's about Declan, I stay. Principal Moore looked like he wanted to argue. Then he sighed. Fine, come in. His office was small and beige and full of motivational posters that didn't motivate anyone. Mr. Bennett, he began. We've received complaints from other parents. What kind of complaints? About Declan's living situation. Daddy went very still. What about it? Some parents are concerned that he's living with a member of a motorcycle club. They feel it's inappropriate, potentially dangerous. The air in the room changed, got colder, sharper. Dangerous, Daddy repeated, voice flat. I'm just telling you what they said. And what do you say? I say I need to ensure all students are in safe, stable environments. Declan is safe. He's fed, clothed, and cared for. What more do you want? Mr. Bennett, I understand you're doing your best, but that's when I stood up. Excuse me, I said. Everyone looked at me. Excuse me, I said again louder. I need to say something. Principal Moore frowned. Young lady, this is an adult conversation. No, this is a conversation about my family. So I get to speak. Isla, Daddy started. No, Daddy. Let me. I turned to Principal Moore. You want to know if Declan is safe. That's what we're discussing. Then ask him. He's right there. Ask him if he feels safe. It's not that simple. Yes, it is. You're making it complicated because you're judging my daddy by his jacket instead of his actions. I'm not judging anyone. Yes, you are, because if you weren't, you'd see that Declan was living in an alley 3 weeks ago. He was sleeping in cardboard boxes and eating garbage. Now he has a bed, and food, and people who love him. That's not dangerous. That's saving. The room went quiet. Principal Moore stared at me like I'd just spoken in a language he didn't know existed. My daddy wears a leather vest, I continued. He has patches that scare people. But you know what else he has? He has a daughter who loves him. And now he has a son who's learning to trust him. And he shows up every single day and does what's right even when it's hard. I looked at the invisible parents who'd complained. The people who called you, they drop their kids off and drive away. My daddy stays. He asks about homework. He makes sure we eat. He tucks me in at night, even though I'm 7 and don't really need it anymore. I turned back to Principal Moore. So if you want to talk about dangerous, talk about the system that let Declan sleep outside for 8 months. Talk about the people who walk past hungry kids and pretend not to see them. Don't talk about my daddy, because he's the one who stopped and helped when everyone else kept walking. The silence that followed was so complete I could hear the clock on the wall. Tick, tick, tick. Finally, Principal Moore spoke. You're 7 years old. Yes. You shouldn't have to defend your family like this. But I will every time. He looked at Daddy, then at Declan, then back at me. Mr. Bennett, I apologize. The complaints were out of line. Declan is welcome here. If anyone has a problem with his living situation, they can take it up with me. Daddy's face was unreadable. Thank you. Outside the office, Declan looked at me with something like awe. You didn't have to do that, he said. Yes, I did. You got in trouble. No, I got heard. There's a difference. On the way home, Daddy was quiet. Too quiet. When we got to the house, he sent Declan inside and asked me to stay. Isla, he said, what you did back there? I know, I was loud. I'm sorry. Don't apologize. His voice was thick. What you did was the bravest thing I've ever seen. Really. Really, you stood up for this family when grown men wouldn't. You made them see what they were too scared to look at. I just told the truth. Yeah, that's what made it brave. He hugged me then right there in the driveway, tight and fierce and full of everything words couldn't say. That evening there was a knock at the door. Hesitant, soft. I opened it. A boy stood there, 15 tall with shoulders that looked too big for the rest of him. It took me a moment to recognize him. Garrett Sullivan, the bully from the alley. His hands were shaking, eyes red like he'd been crying. I'm sorry, he said immediately, voice breaking, for what I did to you, to Declan. I'm so sorry. I stared at him, this big 15-year-old boy, scared and small in a way that had nothing to do with significance. Behind me, Declan appeared in the hallway. He went rigid when he saw Garrett. What are you doing here? Declan asked, voice hard. I came to apologize. Garrett's eyes filled with tears. I shouldn't have done that. Any of it. I was angry. Angry about what? I asked. Garrett looked at me, then at the ground. Because I saw your notebook. With your debt, and I don't have that. What do you mean? I mean I'm homeless too. The words came out choked. I sleep in my mom's car behind the grocery store. She works 2 jobs and we still can't afford rent. I saw you with your family and I got so mad because you had something I wanted and I took it out on him. Daddy appeared behind us, filling the doorway. Garrett stepped back, ready to run. Wait, I said. Everyone looked at me. He needs help too, I said to Daddy. Daddy started. No, listen. He's 15 and sleeping in a car. He's hungry and angry and alone, just like Declan was. We helped Declan. Why can't we help him? Daddy studied Garrett. You hungry son? Garrett nodded, not trusting his voice. Come in. That night we fed Garrett. Not adoption, not placement, just a meal and kindness. Daddy called Flint, who knew people who helped older kids in the system. By the time Garrett left 2 hours later, he had appointments set up, services to call, a path forward that didn't involve sleeping in cars. At the door, Garrett turned to me. Thank you. You didn't have to do this. Yes, I did. I said. That's what angels do. After he left, Declan looked at me. You helped the person who hurt me. Yeah. Why? Because he needed it, and because you would have done the same thing. Declan thought about that, then nodded slowly. Yeah, I would have. Saturday morning came too fast and too slow, the day we'd been waiting for. The day Declan would see Sutton. We left for Griffith Park at 2:45. The three of us in Daddy's truck because the motorcycle couldn't fit everyone. Declan sat in the back, knee bouncing. Nervous energy radiating off him like heat. What if I don't know what to say? He asked. Then don't say anything, I said. Just be there. The park was crowded. Saturday afternoon, families everywhere. Kids on swings, dogs chasing balls. Normal life happening all around us while we walked towards something extraordinary. Ms. Finch was waiting at the picnic area, and next to her, two people I recognized, Maggie and Flint Cross. And between them, a girl, small for 9, dark hair in a ponytail, purple shirt, eyes scanning the park like she was looking for something she'd lost. Declan stopped walking, just stopped frozen in the middle of the path. That's her, he whispered. Then go. I can't move. Yes, you can. But he couldn't. Fear and hope and 247 days of missing her had turned his legs to stone. So I did what I always did when someone needed help. I helped. I walked straight up to the girl. She looked at me confused. Hi, I said. Are you Sutton? Yes. Who are you? I'm Isla. I brought you something. What? I pointed back to where Declan stood still frozen. Your brother. Sutton's eyes followed to my finger. Landed on Declan. Went wide. Wider. Her whole face transformed. Declan, she whispered. Then she was running, fast as her legs could carry her, across the grass around the picnic tables, straight into Declan's arms. He caught her, spun her around, and they both started crying. Big, ugly, beautiful tears, the kind that come from the deepest part of your soul. I thought I'd never see you again, Sutton sobbed into his shoulder. I know, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I missed you so much. I missed you more. They sank to the ground right there in the middle of the path, holding each other like they were afraid the other would disappear if they let go. I walked back to where the adults stood watching. Maggie was crying too. Even Flint, tough as nails, Flint had wet eyes. How long have they been apart? Maggie asked Ms. Finch. 247 days, I answered for her. Oh my God. Yeah, we gave them time. 10 minutes. 20, letting them remember each other, letting them be siblings again. Finally, they stood up, Sutton still clinging to Declan's good hand. They walked over to us together. Hi, Sutton said to Daddy. Are you the one taking care of my brother? Trying to, Daddy said. Thank you. You're welcome. She looked at me. And you found him? We found each other. That's good. Declan needs people. He pretends he doesn't, but he does. I know, that's why he's staying with us. Sutton's face lit up. Really, for how long? Forever if we can make it work. She looked at Maggie. Can I stay with them too? Maggie knelt down. Sweetie, it's complicated. Why? Because you're already placed with us, and Declan's just starting with the Bennetts. The system doesn't usually let siblings reunite that fast. That's stupid. Yeah, it is. Sutton looked at Declan, then at me, then at all the adults. We're going to fix this, right? We're not going to be apart again. Ms. Finch stepped forward. I can't make promises, but I can tell you I'm going to try and really try. How long will it take? I don't know, weeks, maybe months. But we can see each other. Yes, supervised visits, like today, as often as we can arrange. Sutton seemed to think about this, then she nodded. Okay, but Declan, don't forget me again. I never forgot you. Not for a single day. Promise. I promise. They hugged again, tighter this time, like they were trying to make up for all the hugs they'd missed. The visit lasted 2 hours. We sat at picnic tables, shared stories. Declan told Sutton about the alley, the hospital, our house. Sutton told Declan about Maggie and Flint, about school, about the 247 days from her side. When it was time to go, they didn't want to let go of each other. It's not fair, Sutton said. I know, Declan replied. Why can't the grown-ups just fix it? They're trying. Not hard enough. She was right, but nobody said it. On the way home, Declan stared out the window, silent, processing. You okay? I asked. I don't know. Yes, no, both. That makes sense. Does it? Yeah, big feelings are like that, too big for just one word. When we got home, Declan went straight to his room. I followed. He was sitting on his bed, staring at nothing. Talk to me, I said. She's so close. 12 miles. I could walk there in 3 hours. But I can't see her, except when they say I can. It's not fair. No, it's not. I want to be mad, but I'm too happy. I saw her. I touched her. She's real and okay, and she remembers me. Of course she remembers you. But what if next time they say no? What if they decide visits aren't good for her? What if I climbed onto the bed next to him? Stop what-ifing. You saw her today. That's real. That happened. Nobody can take that away. But tomorrow we'll figure out tomorrow. Tonight we celebrate that you have a sister and she knows you're alive and fighting for her. He looked at me. You're really wise for 7. I know. He laughed, actually laughed. The sound filled his small room and spilled out into the hallway where Daddy was listening. That night I drew a new picture. 4 people now. Daddy, me, Declan, and Sutton standing a little apart but definitely part of the group. Above us I drew a roof, big enough for all of us. Underneath I wrote, family doesn't need the same last name, it just needs the same heart. I showed it to Declan before bed. Can I keep this? He asked. It's yours. He taped it to his wall, right above his bed, where he could see it every morning when he woke up. Isla, yeah. Thank you for everything, for the sandwiches, for the hospital, for finding Sutton, for fighting for us when nobody else would. You're welcome, but I didn't do it alone. We're a team now. Yeah, we are. That night I fell asleep knowing something important had shifted. We weren't just 3 people living in the same house anymore. We were family, messy and complicated and still figuring it out, but family nonetheless. And somewhere 12 miles away, a 9-year-old girl was falling asleep knowing her brother was alive, safe, fighting to get back to her. 247 days of not knowing. Finally over. Now the real work began, the work of staying together. Of proving to the system that family wasn't about paperwork or regulations or last names. It was about showing up. Every day, no matter what. And we were very good at showing up. The week after seeing Sutton felt different. Not bad different, just bigger. Like our house had grown even though the walls stayed the same size. Declan smiled more. Small smiles, still learning how, but they were there. Real and growing. Tuesday morning, October 31st, Halloween. Kids at school were buzzing about costumes and candy. I'd forgotten all about it until Mrs. Kim asked what I was dressing up as. I don't know, I said. I haven't thought about it. That's not like you, Isla. You usually plan these things months ahead. She was right. Last year I'd been a dragon, the year before a pirate. Mama had helped me make the costumes. This year the thought of Halloween just felt empty without her. After school, Daddy picked me up with news. We're having dinner with Maggie and Flint tonight, he said. They want to talk about Sutton and Declan. Good talk or bad talk? Don't know yet, but we're going to find out. At 6 o'clock, we drove to Maggie and Flint's house. Bigger than ours in a slightly better neighborhood, but still lived in and real. Flint answered the door. Big guy, even bigger than Daddy, with a beard that could hide small animals and eyes that saw everything. Come in, he said. His voice was gravel and honey mixed together. Inside, Maggie had made pot roast. The house smelled like comfort and home. Sutton was setting the table, and when she saw Declan, her whole face lit up. "You came?" "Of course I came." They hugged quick and tight, then separated like they were embarrassed to be so happy in front of adults. Dinner was good. The food, the conversation, the way Sutton and Declan kept glancing at each other, like they were checking to make sure the other was still real. But there was something underneath. Attention. Adults carrying words they hadn't said yet. After we ate, after dishes were cleared, Maggie finally spoke. "We need to talk about the situation." Everyone went quiet. "Sutton's been with us for 4 months," Maggie continued. "She's settled, doing well in school, making friends. She's happy." I could hear the but coming. Feel it in the air like thunder before rain. "But she's not whole," Maggie finished. "Not without Declan." Sutton stared at her plate. Declan's jaw tightened. "What are you saying?" Daddy asked. Flint leaned forward. "We're saying we want to help. If you're serious about keeping Declan, we want to support that. And we want to work with CPS to get the kids together more often. Real often. Not just supervised visits." "How?" I asked. "We talked to Miss Finch," Maggie said. "There's a possibility if everyone agrees of shared placement. Sutton stays primarily with Declan with you, but they spend weekends together, rotating houses. It's not perfect, but it's more than they have now." Declan looked at Sutton. "Would you want that?" "Yes," she said immediately. "I want to see you all the time, every day if I could." "But every weekend is better than once a month," Maggie added gently. "When could this start?" Daddy asked. "If Ms. Finch approves it, maybe in a few weeks. But there's something else." Flint's expression went serious. "There's a hearing, family court, first week of November. They're reviewing Declan's placement, deciding if it's permanent or if he goes back into the system." The words hit like stones. Back into the system. Back to shelters and alleys and counting days. "No," I said, voice loud and sharp. "He's not going back." "Isla, it's not up to us," Maggie said softly. "It's up to a judge." "Then we convince the judge." "It's not that simple." "Everyone keeps saying that, but it is that simple. Declan belongs with us. We just have to make them see it." Daddy put his hand on my shoulder. "We'll do our best, baby girl." Best isn't enough. We need to be perfect. That night, lying in bed, I couldn't sleep. Kept thinking about courts and judges and adults who got to decide people's lives based on papers and rules instead of truth and love. I got up, went to Declan's room. His light was still on. He was sitting on his bed, staring at the drawing I'd given him, the one with our family and the roof. "Can't sleep either?" I asked. "No," I sat next to him. "You scared about the hearing?" "Terrified." "Me too." "What if they say I have to leave?" "Then we fight." "How about you?" "I don't know yet, but I'll figure it out." He looked at me, this 7-year-old girl, promising to fight the entire legal system. "You really believe that, don't you, that you can fix this?" "I have to believe it. Because if I don't, who will?" Wednesday morning, I had a plan. Not a good plan, maybe, but a plan. At school during art class, I drew, but not my usual drawings. These were different. Evidence, proof, documentation of our family. I drew Declan's first breakfast with us, the burned toast and peanut butter. I drew him sleeping in a real bed for the first time. I drew the three of us at the kitchen table doing homework. I drew Daddy teaching Declan how to check the oil in the motorcycle. I drew Sutton and Declan at the park holding hands. Each drawing had a date, a caption, a moment that mattered. Mrs. Kim noticed. "That's a lot of drawings, Isla. It's for something important." "What?" "Proof that family is real even when paperwork says it isn't." She looked at my drawings for a long moment. "Can I help?" "How dare them us?" "I could write a letter to the court, testifying that you've been happier, more focused, more grounded since Declan came into your life. Would that help?" Yes, that would help a lot." That afternoon, I asked Warren, the diner owner, the same thing. He agreed. Then I asked Daddy's boss at the garage. He agreed too. One by one, I collected promises, letters, voices saying Declan mattered, that our family was real. By Friday, I had 7 letters, 7 people willing to tell a judge that a 12-year-old boy and a 7-year-old girl and a single father with a motorcycle were a family worth keeping together. Thursday morning, November 2nd, someone knocked on our door. 3 sharp raps that made my stomach drop. Daddy answered. I stood behind him watching. A man stood on our porch, mid-40s, tired-looking, wearing clothes that had seen better days. His face was weathered and shed and familiar in a way that made no sense until he spoke. "I'm looking for Declan Ashford." Declan appeared behind me, went very still. "Dad." The world tilted. Yeshua, Calvin Ashford, the father who'd been in prison, the father who'd been absent for 247 days and more. "Hey, son." Calvin's voice broke on the word. Daddy stepped between them, protective. "What do you want?" "To talk, to see him. I just got out. Took me 3 weeks to track down where he was." "How did you find us?" "Called every CPS office in Los Angeles until someone took pity on me. Told me a Knox Bennett had temporary custody. Found your address through the garage." Declan pushed past Daddy, stood there looking at his father. No expression, just looking. "You left," Declan said finally. "You left and Mom died, and they took Sutton, and I was alone." "I know." "You don't know. You weren't there. I was in prison. For something stupid, something that didn't matter." Calvin flinched. "I was trying to get money for your mom's treatment. By stealing of I was desperate. So was I, but I didn't have anyone to steal for." The words hung there, sharp and true and cutting. I stepped forward, put myself between Declan and his father. "Why are you here now?" Calvin looked down at me. "Who are you, Isla?" Declan's sister. "He doesn't have a sister besides Sutton." "He does now." Something like pain crossed Calvin's face. "I'm not here to cause trouble. I just wanted to see them, to know they're okay." "They are okay. We take care of them." "I can see that." He looked at Daddy D. "Thank you for doing what I couldn't." Daddy's expression was unreadable. "They're good kids. They deserve better than what they got." "I know." Calvin's voice was barely a whisper. "Can I talk to him just for a few minutes?" Daddy looked at Declan. "Your call, son." Declan was quiet for a long time. Then he nodded. 5 minutes. They walked to the edge of the yard. Daddy and I stayed on the porch watching but not listening, giving them space but not leaving Declan unprotected. I could see Calvin talking, Declan listening. Then Declan talking back, hands moving animated in a way I'd never seen. Angry, hurt. Everything he'd held in pouring out. Calvin just stood there and took it. Didn't defend himself, didn't make excuses, just listened. After 5 minutes became 10, Declan walked back to us. Calvin stayed where he was. "What did he say?" I asked. "That he's sorry, that he failed us, that he doesn't expect forgiveness, but he wants to try to be better." "Do you believe him?" "I don't know. Part of me wants to. Part of me is too angry to care." I looked at Calvin still standing in our yard, lost and broken and trying. "Can I talk to him?" I asked Declan. "Why?" "Because I want to understand." Declan nodded. I walked over to Calvin. He looked surprised. "You're just a little girl," he said. "I'm 7. That's not that little." "What do you want?" "I want to know if you love them, Declan and Sutton." He knelt down so we were eye level. "More than anything in this world." "Then why did you leave?" "I didn't leave. I got taken. There's a difference." "Is there?" "I think so, but maybe to them it feels the same." I thought about that. "Do you want them back?" "No." The answer surprised me. "No. I can't take care of them. I don't have a home, don't have a job. Just got out of prison 2 weeks ago. I'm living in a halfway house and trying to figure out how to be a person again." He swallowed hard. "But I want to know them. I want to be part of their lives if they'll let me, even if it's just a small part." "What if they say no?" "Then I respect that, and I leave. And I hope someday they'll change their minds." I studied his face, saw the truth there, the pain, the regret, the desperate hope that maybe it wasn't too late. "You can visit," I said, "but we're their home. Daddy and me. You can be like a grandpa, someone who comes sometimes, someone who cares, but not someone who gets to make decisions." Calvin's eyes filled with tears. "I can accept that. And if you hurt them again, if you disappoint them or let them down, you don't get another chance. Understand?" "Yes." "Okay." I turned to walk back, then stopped. "Mr. Ashford, they count days. Did you know that Declan counted every single day he was separated from Sutton? 247 days. If you're going to be part of their lives, you need to understand that numbers matter to them. Being there matters. Don't make them count days missing you again. I won't. I walked back to Declan and Daddy. He can visit sometimes, I announced, but we're making the rules. Daddy raised an eyebrow. We are? Yes, because we're the family. He's the guest. Calvin left after promising to call before visiting again. Promising to respect our boundaries. Promising to try. After he was gone, Declan sat on the porch steps. I sat next to him. You okay? I asked. I don't know. I never thought I'd see him again. Now he's here and I don't know what to feel. You don't have to know right now. What if he messes up again? Then he messes up. But that's his choice, not yours. You don't have to carry his mistakes. How do you know all this stuff? I don't know it. I'm just guessing. But I'm guessing from my heart, and my heart is usually right. That week passed in a blur. School homework, normal life, punctuated by the growing fear of the upcoming hearing. Monday, November 6th, the day a judge would decide if Declan stayed or went. The night before, I couldn't eat dinner, couldn't focus, couldn't do anything but worry. Daddy noticed. You're thinking too loud, baby girl. I can't help it. Tomorrow's going to be okay. You don't know that. You're right, I don't, but I believe it anyway. What if they take him? Daddy was quiet for a moment. Then we fight like hell to get him back. Monday morning came cold and gray. The kind of November day that feels like the world is holding its breath. Daddy wore his best jeans and a button-down shirt. Not his usual look, but closer to what judges expected. Declan wore the only nice clothes we bought him. Khaki pants, a blue shirt that matched his cast. He looked terrified and small and trying so hard to be brave. I wore my favorite dress, the purple one Mama had bought me. I wanted her with me today, even if it was just through a piece of clothing. The courthouse was downtown, big and imposing and full of marble and echoes. We met Miss Finch outside. She had folders and paperwork and the tired expression of someone who'd fought too many losing battles. Are we ready? She asked. No, Daddy said honestly, but we're here anyway. Inside the courtroom was smaller than I expected. Wood panels and uncomfortable benches and a big desk where the judge would sit. A few other people were scattered around, Maggie and Flint with Sutton. A woman with a briefcase who Ms. Finch said was the CPS attorney. A court reporter with a machine that looked like a typewriter from another century. We sat in the front row, Declan between Daddy and me. His good hand found mine, held tight. I'm scared, he whispered. Me too, but we're scared together. The bailiff called the court to order. Everyone stood as the judge entered. Judge Patricia Holloway, 62 according to the nameplate. Gray hair pulled back severely. Reading glasses on a chain. Face that had seen everything and been impressed by none of it. We sat, and she started reading from the file in front of her. In the matter of Declan Ashford, case number 784321. Petition for permanent placement with Knox Bennett, temporary guardian. She looked up. Mr. Bennett, you're requesting permanent custody. Daddy stood. Yes, Your Honor. On what grounds? On the grounds that Declan needs a home and I can provide one. The state can provide homes. That's what foster care is for. With respect, Your Honor, the state had 8 months to provide for Declan. In that time, he lived on the streets, slept in alleys, broke his arm protecting my daughter. The state failed him. I won't. Judge Holloway's expression didn't change. Mr. Bennett, I see here you have a criminal record. Yes, ma'am. From 14 years ago, I've been clean since. You're employed. Yes, Fletcher's Auto Garage, 6 years. Married, widowed. My wife passed 4 years ago. So you're a single father with one child already asking to take on a second child with documented trauma and behavioral issues. Behavioral issues. The words from Declan's file. The lies that had followed him. Daddy's jaw tightened. Your Honor, Declan doesn't have behavioral issues. He has survival skills. There's a difference. The file says, the file is wrong. Judge Holloway looked at him over her glasses. Are you calling CPS incompetent? I'm saying systems make mistakes. Declan got caught in one. The CPS attorney stood up. Your Honor, while Mr. Bennett's intentions may be admirable, we have concerns about the stability of this placement. Single father, limited income, associations with a motorcycle club known for what? Daddy interrupted. Being loyal, showing up, taking care of their own. Mr. Bennett let her finish. I apologize, Your Honor, but I won't sit here and let someone disparage my family based on stereotypes. Judge Holloway made a note. Ms. Finch, you're the caseworker. What's your assessment? Ms. Finch stood. Your Honor, I've conducted 3 home visits. The residence is clean, safe, appropriate for a child. Mr. Bennett has complied with all requirements. Declan is enrolled in school receiving medical care and by all accounts thriving. And emotionally, Declan has shown significant improvement. He's engaged, hopeful, attached to the Bennett family in a healthy way. What about the sister Sutton Ashford? She's in a separate placement but has been having regular supervised visits with Declan. All visits have been positive. Judge Holloway looked at Maggie and Flint. You're the current foster parents for Sutton. Maggie stood. Yes, Your Honor. How does she feel about her brother's placement? She wants him to stay with the Bennetts. She wants them to be together as much as possible. We've proposed shared placement on weekends to maintain sibling connection. And you support this arrangement? Yes, Your Honor. We've known Knox Bennett for years. He's a good man. These kids need stability, not another move. Judge Holloway was quiet, reading through papers. The silence stretched, painful and heavy. Finally, she looked at Declan. Young man, would you approach the bench? Declan's hand tightened on mine. Then he let go and stood. Walked to the big desk where the judge sat high above everyone else. How old are you, Declan? 12, ma'am. Do you understand why you're here? Yes, you're deciding if I get to stay with Knox and Isla or if I have to go somewhere else. How do you feel about staying with them? Declan's voice was quiet but clear. I want to stay. They're my family. You've only been with them a few weeks. I know, but they showed up when nobody else did. They kept showing up. That makes them family more than any amount of time. What if I decided you'd be better off in a traditional 2-parent home? Then I'd respect your decision, but I'd know you were wrong. A few people in the courtroom gasped. You don't tell a judge they're wrong. But Judge Holloway just looked at him. Why would I be wrong? Because you'd be looking at what a family should look like instead of what it really is. Knox isn't perfect. Isla talks too much. I heard Daddy suppress a laugh. But they see me. They know me. They want me. Not because they have to, because they choose to. Every single day. Judge Holloway studied him. Then she said something I didn't expect. Go sit down. I want to talk to Isla. The courtroom went silent. The judge wanted to talk to me. Daddy looked concerned. Ms. Finch looked surprised, but the judge was already gesturing me forward. I stood on shaky legs and walked to the bench. I was so small I could barely see over it. The judge looked down at me like I was a puzzle she was trying to solve. How old are you, Isla? 7. Do you know why you're here? Yes, you're deciding if Declan gets to stay with us. How do you feel about that? Scared, angry, hopeful, all mixed together. Why scared? Because grown-ups have a lot of power, and sometimes they use it wrong. Why angry? Because the system let Declan sleep outside for 8 months and nobody cared. Now he has a home, and suddenly everyone has opinions about whether it's good enough. And why hopeful? Because you're talking to me. That means you're at least listening. Most grown-ups don't listen to 7-year-olds. Judge Holloway leaned back in her chair. Tell me about Declan. What's he like? I thought about how to answer. About alleys and angels and promises made in hospitals. He's brave, I said. Not the loud kind of brave, the quiet kind. The kind that breaks your arm saving a stranger and doesn't expect anything back. He's sad sometimes because he misses his sister. He's scared sometimes because he's not used to good things lasting. But he's trying. Every day he's trying to believe that home is real. And is it real? Yes, because we make it real. Every morning when Daddy makes breakfast, every night when we do homework together, every time Declan forgets to say sorry for existing and just exists. That's real. What if I decided he'd be better off somewhere else? My voice got stronger. Louder. Then you'd be wrong, and I'd tell you that, and I'd fight you, because that's what family does. They fight for each other. You're very passionate. I'm very right. She almost smiled. Almost. What makes you think you know better than the court system? I don't know better than the system. I just know Declan, and I know us, and I know that love matters more than paperwork. Judge Holloway was quiet. Then she said, "Do you have anything else you'd like to tell me?" "Yes." I reached into my backpack and pulled out my notebook, the one with all the drawings, all the dates, all the proof that our family was real. "I drew these," I said, "every important moment since Declan came home. Look." I handed her the notebook. She opened it, started flipping through pages. Her expression didn't change, but something in her eyes did. Something soft, something understanding. She looked at drawings of burned toast and homework and Declan's first real smile. She read the captions, the dates, the small moments that made a family. When she finished, she handed the notebook back. "You drew all of these?" "Yes, because I wanted to remember, but also because I wanted proof that this is real, that we're real." "Why did you think you'd need proof?" "Because people like you decide things based on what's on paper." So I put it on paper, our whole family, right there in drawings that don't lie. Judge Holloway looked at me for a long moment. Then she said, "Go sit down, Isla." I walked back to my seat. Daddy pulled me close. "You did good, baby girl." "We don't know that yet." Judge Holloway shuffled her papers. "I've heard enough. I'm ready to make a ruling." My heart stopped. This was it, the moment that decided everything. This court has reviewed the petition for permanent placement of Declan Ashford with Knox Bennett. I've considered the home studies, the case history, the testimony provided today. Pause, terrible, endless pause. I've also considered something else. In 30 years on this bench, I've presided over thousands of family cases. I've seen every kind of family you can imagine. Traditional, non-traditional, biological, adoptive, foster. And in all that time, I've learned something important. Another pause. Family isn't defined by structure. It's defined by commitment, by showing up, by choosing every single day to love and protect and nurture. She looked at Declan. This court finds that Declan Ashford is best served by remaining with Knox Bennett and Isla Bennett. The courtroom exploded. Maggie cried out in joy. Flint clapped Daddy on the back. Sutton jumped up and down. Miss Finch was smiling, actually smiling. But Judge Holloway wasn't done. "However, this is conditional. Mr. Bennett, you will continue to work with CPS. Monthly visits for 6 months, then quarterly for another year. Declan will remain in school. Medical and mental health needs will be addressed. Sibling visits with Sutton will continue, and I'm ordering the shared placement arrangement as discussed. Weekends will alternate between households to maintain sibling connection." She looked at me. "And Isla, I'm putting you in charge of something important. You keep making those drawings. You keep documenting this family. Because in 6 months, I want to see how this story ends. Understand?" "Yes, Your Honor." "Good. This placement is approved. Permanent custody granted pending completion of all legal requirements. Court adjourned." She banged her gavel. The sound echoed through the courtroom like a bell. "We'd won." Declan turned to me, eyes wide and wet. "We won. We won." Then we were all hugging, crying, laughing, a mess of arms and emotions, and joy so big it didn't fit inside the courtroom walls. Outside on the courthouse steps, Sutton ran to Declan. "You're staying." "I'm staying. Forever. Forever." She hugged him so tight I thought they might fuse together. And maybe in some way they did. Calvin was there too, standing at the edge of the group, not part of it exactly, but not excluded either. He caught Declan's eye. "Congratulations, son." Declan hesitated, then nodded. "Thanks." It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was a start. That night we celebrated. Pizza again, because pizza was becoming our family tradition. The 5 of us around our wobbly table, Daddy, me, Declan, and Sutton and Maggie, who'd come over to join us. "To family," Daddy said, raising his beer. "To family," we echoed. Later, after everyone had gone home and the house was quiet, I found Declan in his room. He was looking at the drawing on his wall, the one with the roof. Hey, I said. Hey, you okay? Better than okay, I'm home. Yeah, you are. He turned to look at me. Isla, I need to tell you something. What? Thank you for everything, for the sandwiches, for finding me, for fighting for me, for being my sister when you didn't have to be. I wanted to be. I know, that's what makes it mean so much. I hugged him, quick and tight. You're welcome. But I didn't do it alone. We're a team. Yeah, we are. 6 months later, April, spring in Los Angeles, which meant the jacaranda trees were blooming and the whole city looked purple and perfect. A lot had changed in 6 months. Declan was 13 now, birthday in February. We'd celebrated with cake and presents, and Sutton there to blow out candles with him. Sutton spent every other weekend with us. Her room at Maggie and Flint's was still her primary home, but she had a drawer at our house. Clothes and books and pieces of herself scattered between two places that both felt like home. Calvin visited twice a month. Supervised at first, then unsupervised after he got a job and an apartment. The relationship was still tentative, still healing, but growing. Declan called him Calvin, not Dad. Maybe someday that would change. Maybe it wouldn't. Either way was okay. The Hells Angels Clubhouse had started a program. Isla's Angels, we called it. Every Tuesday night, homeless kids could come for a hot meal. No questions asked, no judgment, just food and kindness and proof that someone cared. It was Declan's idea. We should help others the way we were helped, he'd said. So we did. 15 kids the first week, 23 the second. Now we average 30. Kids who slept in cars and under bridges and behind dumpsters. Kids who needed to know they weren't invisible. I helped serve food. Talked to kids who reminded me of the boy I'd first seen in that alley. Drew pictures with them, listened to their stories. Some of them we helped more. Found them placements, connected them with services. Gave them hope that maybe their 247 days could end too. And my drawings, I kept making them like Judge Holloway had ordered, documenting every moment, every small victory, every time our family grew a little bit stronger. At school, kids asked about my brother. Some were mean about it, said things about bikers and foster kids and families that didn't look normal. But most were just curious, and I was happy to explain that family wasn't about matching last names or birth certificates. It was about showing up. Today was the 6-month hearing, back to Judge Holloway's courtroom to show her how the story had ended, or really how it continued. Because stories like ours don't really end. We brought the drawings, all of them, 6 months of moments captured in crayon and colored pencil. Declan's first day on a test, Sutton sleeping over, the day Declan's cast came off, Calvin's first unsupervised visit, Halloween where Declan dressed as a motorcycle rider and I dressed as an angel. Judge Holloway looked through every single one, took her time, studied them like they were legal documents, which in a way they were. When she finished, she looked at me. You kept your promise. Yes, ma'am. What did you learn in these 6 months? I thought about it, about everything we'd been through, everything we'd survived and celebrated and built. I learned that family is something you make, I said, not something you find, that it takes work every single day, that it's not always easy or perfect, but it's always worth it. And you, Declan, what did you learn? Declan stood, taller now, voice stronger. I learned that home isn't a place, it's people, and that sometimes the people who save you are the ones you save back. Judge Holloway nodded. This court finds that the permanent placement has been successful. All conditions met and exceeded. Declan Ashford's custody with Knox Bennett is hereby finalized. No further review required. Another gavel, another victory, but this one felt different, final, real in a way the first ruling hadn't quite been. We were family, legally, officially, permanently. Outside the courthouse, the same group gathered. Bigger now, Ms. Finch, Maggie and Flint, Sutton, Calvin standing at the edge, Warren from the diner, Daddy's friends from the club, Mrs. Kim from school, all the people who'd helped us get here. Speech, someone called out. Everyone looked at me because somehow, somewhere along the way, I'd become the voice of this family. I stood on the courthouse steps, 7 years old, but feeling ancient and brand new at the same time. I don't have a speech, I said. I just have a thank you to everyone who listened when I talked too much, who believed when I said an angel needed help, who showed up when it would have been easier to walk away. I looked at Declan. My brother once asked me why I cared so much. I told him it was because I saw him, really saw him, and I think that's what we all need, to be seen, not as problems or files or statistics, just as people, people who deserve love and home and family. I pulled out one more drawing, the last one, the most important one. It showed our whole group, everyone standing together. Above us, I'd drawn a roof so big it covered everyone. And underneath, in my best handwriting, family isn't about blood. It's about showing up. This is all of us, I said. Everyone who showed up, everyone who kept showing up, everyone who's going to keep showing up. That's what makes us family. I gave the drawing to Judge Holloway for your office, so you remember that sometimes the best families are the ones nobody expected. She took it with tears in her eyes. I won't forget. I promise. That night back home, the house felt different. Not bigger, just settled. Like all the pieces had finally found their places. Declan and Sutton were in his room playing cards. Daddy was in the kitchen making his famous terrible coffee. Calvin had stayed for dinner quiet, but they're learning how to be part of something again. I sat at the table with my notebook, started a new drawing, not of the past, of the future. I drew a bigger house, more rooms, more people, because our family was still growing, still becoming whatever it was meant to be. I drew wings on everyone, because we were all angels now, helping each other fly. Daddy came over to look at what I was drawing. What's this one for, he asked. For remembering where we're going, not just where we've been. And where are we going? Wherever we need to go, together. He kissed the top of my head. You know what, baby girl, you changed everything. You saw a kid who needed help and you didn't look away. You made all of us better. I didn't do it alone, no, but you started it. You were the voice when everyone else was silent. I thought about that, about being 7 and loud and refusing to accept that systems were more important than people. About sandwiches in alleys and promises in hospitals and courtrooms where truth mattered more than rules. Daddy, yeah. Do you think Mama would be proud? His eyes got shiny. Baby girl, she'd be so proud she'd burst. You're everything she wanted you to be. Kind and brave and stubborn in all the best ways. I miss her. Me too, every day. But we're okay, right, even without her? Yeah, we're more than okay. We're exactly what we're supposed to be. That night, I fell asleep knowing something important. Our story wasn't about a homeless boy who got saved. It was about how saving someone saves you back. How family isn't something you were born into. It's something you choose. Every single day. And we chose each other. From an alley behind a diner to a courtroom, to a home that somehow fit everyone who needed it, we built something real. Something that didn't exist in any manual or guidebook or legal definition. We built family, and that was the greatest story I'd ever tell. The one I'd keep drawing for the rest of my life. The one about a 7-year-old girl who saw an angel, and the angel who taught her that saving and being saved are the same thing. The one about how the smallest voice can change the biggest systems. The one about showing up. Always, always, always showing up. Because that's what family does. And we were family, finally, completely, perfectly family.